Hello everybody! Today we want to talk about grading, and grading means getting an existing pattern into a different size. So you want to make a pattern that you already have in a bigger or smaller size, or also an in-between size if that is preferable. So all you need is an existing pattern, and I will start with this really nice pattern from Mimi G Style that is on Simplicity number whatever 8177. So but you can use any kind of pattern that you have or that you want to grade. So this one in particular is a little more complex because it has several different items in it. It has the t-shirt pattern in it, the long vest or long sleeve as a jacket, and the pants. So there are like multiple patterns in this one pattern booklet or envelope. And first is to identify what you want to do and what you want to change about it. So I decided to use the pant pattern, and I want to do those in a smaller size because what I realized, I bought this and it's size 10 to 18, but I do want to have it in size 8. So that's not a big problem, so I will just grade it down to a size 8. So then the first thing you do is to identify which pieces of the pattern you need for the pants. And it says here, it has a list of all the individual pieces that are in there. And I see that pants front, pant back, yoke, fly, underlap, and carrier. And like all these pattern pieces here, it's a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. These will be used for my pant. So I have my pieces 6, and then at the other end there is 7. So concentrate on those two. Then 6, 7, then we have 8, we have 9 here. We have 11. And 12 should be somewhere. So at first we look at pieces number, wait 1 second. So 11, for example, so that's this one here. You see the outline of the piece. So it goes all the way around. It has some notches, some markings and whatnot, but there is no size difference. So all the sizes that you do, the overlap will always be exactly the same. So there is no grading necessary. You can use the piece 11 as is. A different story is piece number 9. So you see the outline of piece number 9 here with the notches, markings, grain line and everything. But then you can see that it has different sizes. So this is basically our indication that this needs to be graded. The same is for piece number 6, piece number 7 and piece number 8. So let's start with this piece number 9 here. Put it out flat on my table. Double check that you see everything correctly. So, and as I said before, I want to do this piece in a size 8. So I identify the distance between the different sizes and then calculate down how much it would be for a size 8, for example. So what I do with my ruler here, and that's one with millimeters, it's a little more precise. So this is 12 millimeters, so I'll just write it down next to it. So the distance between 16 and 18 is 12 millimeter. So this is 1 12 millimeter. So I'll just write it down next to it. So the distance between 16 and 18 is 12 millimeter. So the distance between 16 and 18 is 12 millimeter. So the distance between 16 and 18 is 12 millimeter. So the distance between 16 and 18 is 12 millimeter. then the distance between 14 and 16 is also 12 millimeter. Then between 12 and 14, it's 11 millimeter. Then between 10 and 12 is also 11 millimeters. So you see, like every 2 sizes, it goes down 1 millimeter. That means if you go and do a size 8, it will be 10 millimeters. So then from a size, from the size 10, I go down and do like 10 millimeters. Just make a parallel line. And I do this with a big fat Sharpie here, and do not try this at home, as they say. Use a mechanical pencil. That is very easy to use, very easy to erase in case you make a mistake. It doesn't bleed through onto your table or wherever you work. And I will use a Sharpie for visibility reasons, so it's easier to see. So now I identified my 10 millimeter distance from 10 to 8, and then I can either freehand or with a ruler, like my French curve. Like you can see, it's wavy a little bit, so you can do that either with a ruler or by hand. It's a little quicker if I do it by hand, so I have 10 millimeter here. So this would be my size 8. On the other hand, let's say I would want a size 20. So what would I do? I would go up here, and the same sequence, I would add 13 millimeters now to go from 18 to 20. So let's do 13 millimeters. 1, 2, 3. 13. So, but you have to really check this sequence before, what you have, what the existence sequence is, and then you can start doing it the right way. So, okay, so that would be, and I do that in little dotted line here. So that would be my size 20. And so on and so on. So just continue with the same sequence. So then I can cut out my size 9, or I can copy it. And don't forget to copy all the markings. Same with the marking that we have here. If you put your ruler down and see where the arrow points, so that's what I want to copy onto my new one. So it will be around here. Then the arrows are all 5 millimeters. So it's exactly like here. So this will be my notch for my size 8. So always be careful to really copy everything that you have on your existing line onto your new piece or onto your new size. So now let's go to another piece that is a little more complex, and we'll use the, let's do the front pant. So there, it's a little more detailed than the little pieces. So what will still be the same are all those lines that don't have a sizing to it. And like, for example, the grain line, it will always be the grain line, so don't touch that. So let's start in one corner and just move our way around here. It's principle, the same thing. We have 18, 16, 14, 10, 12 and 10, and we want to do the line for the size 8. So as you see, the corners of those, they go up a little bit here, and the size goes inwards. So we want to also measure the same distances here, because it's not always the same number. Like what we had before, the 12 and the 11 might not be the same on here. It depends on what piece it is and what, like where we are in the big picture. Always measure. Every corner you do, you re-measure. So this is 12, and that is a coincidence. Believe me, you'll see it later. So this is 12 again. Then from 14 to 12 we have like 11. From 12 till 10 also like 10. And then we do like 10, just to make sure that, we keep the sequence similar. So we go down all the way 10, 10, 10, and so on. We do that with our hip ruler a little later. Make the line really look nice. So this is basically the line that we would need to come in sideways. Then we have a notch here. We'll do that right away, so we are not forgetting anything. So this is our notch line. We just extend that, and so we know where it will be on our curve here. Then another line that we need to draw is from the outermost corners here. So I'll just extend those. I'll just make one long line here. And you see that with a Sharpie it gets really fat, but for your sake it's more visible. So that line means that the outermost corner from 18, it goes kind of up. It's not parallel to our waistline here. It kind of tilts up a little bit, and that's what we also want to have in our size 8. So now we can kind of connect those dots here with our hip ruler. Just find a good curve for that. So we can go down like that. And so on and so on. I think from here on I would take a straight ruler to finish that line. And you see that outermost corner here, this is our size 8. So 8, and this is what we want. So this is our piece. And from there we tilt down into our waistline. So that is basically our new size 8, let's do 10, write down 10, that is the distance here, and this is the size from our new piece here, and then we tilt over and do the next size or the next grading that we want to do. And this is for a pleat. It says here pleat. You see a lot of numbers, and oh my god, oh my god. Just look at the numbers and see what belongs together. So you see 16, 18, a line. You see 16, 18, a dotted line. And here is 16, 18 again. So that means for size 16 and size 18, you take your fabric from the line and fold it over to the dotted line. Then you do the same here from size 16, 18, you take the fabric, lift it up and put it down onto the dotted line. So you have two pleats, like two folds, towards the center. So this is for size 16 and 18, but that's not what we want to do. The next one is size 12 and 14, 12 and 14 here. Then we have a 12 and 14 dotted line. So we do the same thing. The fabric will be lifted from this line, from this continuous line here, up and over onto our dotted line. And same from this direction, onto our dotted line. So the next one is 10. And then we have a dotted line 10 here. 10 here, 10 here. So we will lift up and over our 10, up and over our onto the 10. So that is pretty easy, and I would say since the sizes are always combined, like two sizes, I would just add size 8 to the size 10 line here. So no need to recreate and do another line. So we will just write here 8, 8 to 10, 8 to 10, and then that's also 8 to 10. So these lines are the ones that we need. When you copy your piece or when you cut out your piece and whatnot, like make sure that you know that these are the ones that count for your size. Let's say you do a bigger size, 20. Then you would just do, you know, like you see 16, 18, 16, 18, 16, 18. And you go outward another step and create size 20. For example, first we will measure the distance between those lines to make sure that it's consequence the same. So it's like 10 millimeter here. Between these, it's also 10 millimeter. And then for a size 20, I would also continue with 10 millimeter. A parallel line here, 10 millimeter. And since I did a dotted line for the 10, I will also do, for the size 20, I will also do a dotted line for a size 20. Then we will also move over our middle line here for the size 20. Also measure again, just to make sure that we are on the right track. That's 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter. Then let's do 10 millimeter and also another 10 millimeter. So they have to be parallel to these here. And then we do a dotted line for the center of our size 20. So this will be our size 20. And then same on this side, we will just go over one more. Measure 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, so we also do another 10 millimeter. We do a dotted line here. For our size 20. So that is the 20 and that is the, so we created 3 new lines for 20, but we did not create anything new for the size 8. So that's basically our area here. We have a notch here that is the same for every size because it's only one, so there is no change here. I will move my whole piece. Then we come around the center front. We have 2 notches here, same, you know, no sizing. So we leave it. Same with that marking here where the seam ends, no sizing. So we leave it. Then we move down to this area here on the crotch area. So first we look at it and we identify, you know, what marking and notch and line is. So we see this is the crotch line, and it says here crotch line size 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. It looks like they are all the same distance. So I will just double check, measure the distance between those, like 6 millimeter, 6, 6, 6, and then we can just continue doing another crotch line for size 8, 6 millimeter up, and then also for size 20 we go 6 millimeter down. So this would be 8, this would be 20. And since it's totally straight and totally parallel, I can just go and make a straight line over here. Same here. A little further out, because it's the bigger size and that needs to be further out here. Then our next point is the point here, and we do something similar what we did at the waistline, on the outer corner of the waistline. We kind of connect all those corners and continue it. Just this is a helping line for us. So we know that our outermost corner for size 8 will be along that line here. And the outermost corner of our size 20 will be along that line, like down here. So then again, we measure between 18 and 16, 16 and 14, 14 and 12, 12, 10, and then we will create the point or the line for size 8. So from size 16, it's 5 millimeters, 5, 4.5, 4.5, then I would go, so it's 5, 5, 4.5, and 4.5. Then I would just do the sequence to a 4. Go up 4 millimeters to have this line here created. And in order to do that in a nice curve, I will use my French curve that we usually use for our crotch lines. See which sequence of the curve fits best. I go all the way around here. Oh, maybe that's a good one. It's almost tighter than my French curve. Ah, yeah, here we go. So we see size 10 is about here. And then we can do 8 around here. And then we come up a little more like that. So you have to do it in a few steps, that's fine. And then more straight. I mean, again, you can do it freehand. You can, you know, like really, I would prefer it to do freehand. And again, like with the big Sharpie, it's a little tricky to do that. It's easier with a like a pencil. So now we created our size 8 line here that ends in this corner, and then from here it goes down to our, you know, to further down towards the thigh and the knee. So again, now we want to figure out the distance of that line combination, and it's 1, 2, 3.5, 3.5, 3, 3. So 3.5, 3.5, 3, 3, then I would do 2.5, just to stay on the same sequence. If you go further down, like a big step down, you have to measure again, because it will narrow down. So, and for same for this line here, I will use my long hip curve, try to find the perfect parallel one, and then I go here. And I have to go through my 0.8 here on top to create the size 8. And then the same on a size 20 down here, you know, the size 20, you go out, out, out. So that was 3.5, 3.5, 4, 4. Then we do 4.5 here on that outermost corner. So that will be our size, like the parallel line for the size 20. Then we come down here. We see we have 4, 4.5, 4.5, 5, 5. So the next one would be 5.5 for our size 20. So we go down. So we measured here, that's 5. So we go down 5.5. And that will be our size 20. You know, same thing, and I will do it just as a dotted line freehand now. Will end right here, and from here through my parallel point, this will be my size 20. So I think you get the whole idea. Then we have a notch here also. You have to get that up to size 8, get that down to size 20. And that's basically all you need to do in order to grade an existing pattern, a size up, a size down, or 2 sizes up. It's the same principle. You know, if you do 2 sizes up here, then you would just from 5 go to not 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, or to size 6 millimeter. If you grade 2 sizes down, 4.5, 4.5, 4, then you would end up with 4 or 3.5. So if you go to size 6. So and so on and so on. Then you go around the pattern, all the way around. You have notches, you have little mark points, like for example this one here. Those notches. So we also want to have those notches on our next size up or down. You know, up will be here. That means the notch will be further down. Up will be here. The notch will be a step up. And parallel onto your new line, on the dotted line on the size 20 or the continuous line on the size 8 with the same distance from those notches. You know, you make a helping line like this, helping line, and then you measure the distance from here to there. That will be 6 millimeter, 6, 6. So each of those is 6 millimeters. So I also go up 6 millimeter for the size 8. So that's where my notch will be. And then I go 6 millimeter down from size 18 to a size 20. That's where my notch will be for my size 20. So it's really like as easy as that. And just continue this line here for the size 8. It's almost a straight line. Not quite, but yeah. And then also do the dotted line from here. Just how to show you to do the notches. The notch that I marked here is the top of my notch, and then it's kind of a triangle here. And same here, you do a triangle to my line, to the existing line that I have. So this is my new notch, and this is my new notch here. And then you go around all the way, you know, till you have done every line and every measurement, every marking and so on. And you do that to every piece that you need for your pins. Again, we have a size, the pattern piece number 12. It doesn't have any sizing, so it is what it is, so that can be cut out the way it is. So just make sure to not forget anything. Grain line will always stay the grain line, and then you can either copy or cut out your pattern pieces. So this is basically how you do the grading. My name is Edith Schneider, and I am the German tailor. Not only because Schneider means tailor, and everything I teach comes with a German accent, but because I am a tailor and I am German. I created that YouTube channel that is mostly about textile art and design and garment construction and pattern making. So if you like what you see, please share, like, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.